Hello, once again I welcome you to this video lecture. In the last lecture we talked about the morphology. We discussed the definition of morphology. We talked about morphemes. We know that morphology is a branch of linguistics where we study the structure of words or the grammar of words. So we know that words are built up of different parts. These parts are called as morphemes. So morpheme is the smallest individual unit of the word. It means this we cannot go beyond the further splitting of the word. So it is the limit point of the word, that is the morpheme. So in this lecture we are going to talk about the different types of morphemes. So concept of morpheme is clear. The morpheme is the smallest individual unit of the word. Then morpheme should have either semantic or grammatical function. It means it should convey at least a meaning, or it should have some grammatical function to play. Such words can be called as morphemes. So we are going to learn about how different types of morphemes are there. So English has two types of morphemes. They are called as free morpheme and bound morphemes. So these are two major types or two major categories of morphemes. As title itself tells, as its name itself indicates, the free morpheme and the bound morpheme. We are going to learn about what is a free morpheme and what is bound morpheme. So free morphemes are the words. Free morphemes are such entities which can stand alone. So free morpheme can stand alone. They are independent. They can stand alone to make the meaning clear. For meaning, they do not depend upon other part or other morphemes of the word. So they can stand alone, they are independent, that is why they are called as free morphemes. They need not to be attached to the word for the meaning. So morphemes which are free, they provide complete meaning. For making complete meaning, they need not to be attached to other morphemes. For example, look at the word like cat. So it is a free and independent morpheme. It does not need upon other part for the meaning. So it is standing alone, it is independent, and itself, the word itself is meaningful. It tells us about the semantic function or semantic content of the word. So single word which is a free, which is independent, which does not need to be attached to other word for the meaning are called as free morphemes. So number of words, many words which can stand alone, which need not to be attached to other parts, other morphemes for the meaning, can be found in English. For example, look at the word table. So it is a single, it is independent, it can stand alone, it can make a meaning, it can give a complete meaning. For making a complete meaning, it does not need the support or the help of other morphemes. So free morphemes are the morphemes which are independent, free morphemes are the morphemes which can stand alone, free morphemes are the morphemes which need not to be attached to the other part of the word, which did not need it does not need the help of other part of the word to make the meaning. So independent words like cat, table, boy, run. So these are the single words, these are the independent words, and they can stand alone, they can make the meaning in their own. They need not to be attached to other part or other morphemes are not essential there to make them meaningful. Their meaning can be derived by their own unique feature. They can stand alone, they are independent, and they do not to be attached to others. So as far as the free morpheme is concerned, we have to keep in mind if you have to write or we have to define the free morpheme. So remember, free morphemes are the morphemes which can stand alone. which are independent, and it is not necessary to attach to other word for the meaning. It means they can provide meaning without being get attached to the other words. This is the important thing. They can stand alone, they are independent, and no need to attach to other words for the meaning. So such words which are standing alone to pass the meaning are called as free morphemes. The second category is bound morpheme. So bound morphemes are a type of morphemes which cannot stand alone. Bound morphemes cannot stand alone. For meaning, it depends on other words or part of the word. They cannot stand alone, they are dependent, they cannot provide meaning when they come in isolation. It means that they need to be attached to the other word to make the complete meaning. They are not capable enough to make a meaning when they are separated from, when they are isolated from the word. For example, look at the words like unfair. So here you can see there are two morphemes, un and fair. Un and fair. There are two morphemes. There are two parts. Unfair is formed out of two parts, un and fair. So this un, when it is separated, when it is removed from this fair, it will not. It is really difficult to give the meaning of this morpheme. So for the meaning, it depends upon the word fair. We can also write like fairness, Fairness. So ness, when is separated from this stem or the base or the root. So you can see here two morphemes are there. One is fair, second one is ness. When this ness is isolated or separated from morpheme fair, it will have no meaning. It won't make any sense. For the meaning, it depends upon another morpheme. It will become meaningful. It will have a meaning when it is attached to some other part. So this is the basic difference between free morpheme and bound morpheme. So free morphemes can stand alone for the meanings. They do not depend upon other parts or another morpheme. So they can give complete meaning without being attached to other part or other morpheme. On the contrary, bound morphemes are the types of morphemes which needed to be attached to other part, other morpheme to make meaning clear. So meaning cannot be understood until and unless they are attached to the root, the stem or the base word. We are going to see some more example of bound morphemes. Now look at the word writer. So there are two parts, write, and next one is second morpheme is er, writer. So er has no meaning when it is separated from the root, that is word write. When this r is separated or removed from the root, that is write, it makes no meaning. For meaning, it depends upon morpheme write. So it will become meaningful when it is attached to the root or the base or the stem, that is write. Otherwise, it will make no meaning. So it will help us to understand what is the difference between the free morpheme and bound morpheme. So there are different types of free morpheme and bound morpheme also. So free morpheme has two different categories or two different types. They are lexical and second one is grammatical, or it is also called as functional. It is also called as functional. And bound morpheme, it also has two categories. There are two types of bound morphemes. First one is inflectional and second one is derivational. So these are the major categories, major types of morpheme, that is free morpheme and bound morpheme. So far we discussed what is free morpheme and what is bound morpheme. So there are subcategories of free morpheme. One of them is lexical, second one is functional or grammatical, and bound morpheme also has a subclass, that is inflectional and derivational. So for the formation of words, affixation plays important role. Some affixation comes before the root, some affixations comes after the root. The affixation which is attached before the root or the base word or the main word is called as prefix, and the affixation which comes after the root word, which is also called as suffix. Now look at the word prefix and suffix. When something is added before the root, before the base or before the stem. So root, base and stem stands for the main word. For example, so paid is base, paid is root, paid is stem. When morpheme un is placed before it, it becomes unpaid. So this is the most of the commonest process of formation of word, unpaid. So un is morpheme, paid is morpheme. So un is prefix, paid is base, stem or root. So number of words can be formed by this process called prefixation and affixation. When something is added after the base, it is called as suffix. Now look at the example. Exam, exam. This is suffix, I-N-A-T-I-O-N, examination. Then J-U-D-E, judge. So it is a root, it is a base, it is a stem. M-E-N-T meant, it becomes judgment. So it is suffix. It has two parts, two morphemes. Base is judge, ment is suffix. When this ment is removed, when ment is displaced from judge, it will have no meaning. We talked about it while discussing bound morpheme. So affixation is the most common process for the formation of word. We have to keep in mind. Now let us see what are the different types or categories or the class or subclass of free morpheme. First one is lexical morpheme and second one is grammatical. So lexical morpheme refers to words. In English language, number of words are added to the lexicons. So nouns, adjectives, adverbs and verbs, these are called as open class category of the words because number of words are added to these categories or this class. So lexical morpheme carries semantic content of the message. So we have to keep in mind semantic content. So semantic content means, semantic means meaning. So it tells us about the meaning of the message. It has semantic content in the sense because it tells the meaning. Then it refers to individual entities like noun. So individual entities means it refers to noun. So in lexical, there can be nouns. Remember, there can be nouns. So nouns can be like this: John, police, doctor. So you can see number of nouns can be added to the lexicons or lexicons of that particular language. So you can see in English there are number of words which were introduced or added in the latter phase. For example, words like Xerox. So it was later added to the lexicons, that is the category called noun. So that is why noun, adjective, adverb and verb, this category or this class is considered as open class because number of words can be added into the lexicons of nouns, adjectives, adverbs and verbs. So you can say Xerox is there, police is there, some words like doctor is there. Then you can also see the word like now COVID. So it was not in the list of lexicons of English or any language, but now it is added into the category of noun. So then describing qualities, it means adjective. It is also called as adjective. In adjective we describe qualities. Adjective is a thing that tells something specific or special about the noun. For example, tall, handsome, beautiful, gallant. So these are the adjectives. Then it also tells about, it describes some activity, we call it as verb. Then it tells us about something like manners. In verb we can say eat, run, play, go, such words. So many words are added to the category of noun, adjectives, verb and adverbs, and it also I talked about adverb. Adverb describes the manner, like kindly, slowly, rapidly. So these are three morphemes. Lexical morpheme, it has a semantic function, and there are certain things which is called as open class. We have to keep in mind which is the open class, that is noun, adjective, adverb and verb, because many words are added to them in language. Then there is also certain things which is also important in the lexicon of language, that is English. So they are called as a closed class. They are called as a closed class because no more addition is possible. No more words are added into that class. For example, look at articles. So English has just 3 articles. No more addition is there. No less number of articles are there. Just a, an and the or the. These 3 articles are there. A, an and the. 3 articles. Then preposition. It is also called as closed case category because no more words can be added. Then conjunctions. Then demonstratives. So words like these, that, these are demonstratives. So remember, this is called as closed class category. They are morpheme. They are free and independent. Remember, lexical morpheme is type of free morpheme. Free morpheme is independent morpheme. They can stand alone for the meaning. they have their own meaning. But remember, as far as this closed class is considered, that is articles, preposition, conjunctions, demonstrations, they will affect the meaning. They will make impact on the meaning, but they do not have their own meaning. For example, look at the word man. Man is free morpheme, it is independent morpheme, it can stand alone. Then I placed here an article A. So A is also free morpheme, it is an article, it comes in the closed category, but it modifies the meaning. It doesn't change the meaning, but it modifies the meaning. So man is generic, and by adding article A, it becomes a specifics. So remember, both lexical morpheme, that is open class and closed class, are come in the category called free morphemes. Then we are going to discuss the next category, that is grammatical or functional. So functional morphemes, which is one of the type of free morpheme, it provides grammatical information, or it indicates the relationship between entities in a sentence. So functional morpheme just tells us about the grammatical information. They bring about the modification in the meaning, but do not add any meaning of their own. So remember, they do not add meaning of their own, they just modifies the meaning, as I told earlier, a man and a man. So this morpheme is called as functional morpheme. They do not add their meaning, their own meaning. So as I told earlier, this includes articles, prepositions, conjunctions. So these are grammatical functions, that is articles, prepositions, conjunctions. And in lexical morpheme, there can be noun, verb, adjectives and adverbs. So in bound morpheme, inflectional morpheme and derivational morphemes are two types or two categories of bound morphemes. So derivational morphemes are used to make new words by changing the grammatical category of the stem to which they are attached. So remember how inflectional morpheme is important. What is the role of inflectional morpheme? So inflectional morpheme changes or make new words by changing the grammatical category of the stem to which they are attached. So when they are attached to the root or the base of the stem, they change the grammatical category of the stem. For example, look at the word norm. So norm is noun. So grammatical category of norm is noun. When morpheme al is attached to the norm, it becomes normal. So from noun, original word was norm, it is a noun, but when al is attached to it, it becomes normal. So normal is an adjective. So from noun we form normal, it becomes an adjective. So new word is formed or grammatical category changed. So we can see here, for example, look at the word walk. Walk is verb. Now when morpheme er is placed to it, it becomes walker. So grammatical category change, class is changed. So derivational morpheme is the type of morpheme which changes the class, which changes the grammatical function or the category of the word. So it changes, it can change verb to noun or noun to adjective. Now look at the word sing. It can become singer. Such words are called as derivational morpheme. Sometimes they change the subclass of the word. For example, look at the word duck. When morpheme ling is added to duck, so it becomes a small duck. Duck is a root, and ling is morpheme, so it became a duckling, and it became now a small. So this is called as subclass. This subclass is changed. Now we are going to talk about derivational morpheme. Inflectional morpheme. So inflectional morpheme provides grammatical information or have grammatical function. See, it only provides grammatical information. Inflectional morpheme provides grammatical information. It does not change the class or the category or the function of the word. So basic meaning of the stem remains the same. We can add morpheme there, but this addition of morpheme does not change the meaning of the root or the base. For example, look at the word boy. So boy is the root, boy is the base, boy is the stem, it is a noun. When yes morpheme is added to it, it becomes boys. So from singular it became plural, but category remains the same. The category of boy is noun and boys also is noun. So class is not changed, category is not changed. It just by addition of the morpheme, the placement of the morpheme, so attachment of the morpheme here does not changes the class, it does not changes the category of the root or the stem. Such morphemes are called as inflectional morpheme. In derivational morpheme, category or the class is changed, verb can become a noun, noun can become adjective. But in inflectional morpheme, category remains the same, class remains the same. Thank you.